Buy my novel, Escape from the Village, from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to my Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Thank you. Welcome to the Party Pal. This is Fountainhead Forum 182. I am talking to Santiago Oria, who does a lot of public relations for Javier Milei. He'll even be traveling with him in a few days. How are you, Santiago?
Hello, Chris. It's a pleasure to meet you and to talk about Javier Milei and everything related to his campaign, where I was the publicist. That's
Yes.
the way. That's the name we give in Argentina to the guy that makes all the ads, and I did all the ads for TV and all the ads for social media and lots of videos and photographs and graphic design and posters, banners, and everything. So.
Yeah.
I did
Okay.
the publicity campaign, the publicity side of the campaign.
Well, you definitely did a winning campaign here, Santiago. How did you get started in all of this?
Okay, so it's quite a long story, but I will try to do it as short as possible.
Yeah.
My first career was as a lawyer. I have a degree in law, but that was more like a family tradition that I couldn't break out till I was much older. So at 29, I quitted my job at a law firm, and I studied in film school. I went to film school. I went to a film school in Argentina. It's the most prestigious one over here.
Yeah.
So I studied film, but I always loved politics. I was very interested in politics. I read a lot about politics, followed the news from the US, and I was a very political person. And my family had also been involved in politics, especially in the 80s, with a center-right classic liberal party called UCD, which my grandfather was a very important member of that party. He was candidate for vice president in the 80s. And so in my home, there was talk about politics like very often, all the time. So I went into film school, but most people that were in film school, as it is the same thing in the US, they tend to be more to the left and more progressive or that kinds of stuff. So I wasn't doing politics openly till I got graduated. And when I graduated from film school, then the pandemic hit, and the quarantine in Argentina was brutal. It was very violent, it was enforced in a very brutal way, and that was what made me click and made me want to fight for freedom, to fight for the ideas of freedom. And I had just graduated. I had been working on video clips and made some short films. I had a short film that had won quite a couple of awards, but I was only just beginning in my career as a filmmaker, as a film director. And when I started making, I did some documentaries and some videos against the quarantine. It was not, I was not denying the virus. I was not saying that people should not, if they wanted, should not vaccinate, but I was against the confinement, the restrictions on political, on our freedom, and the compulsion to take a vaccine. I said it has to be optional. Everybody has to take it at their own risk. That it shouldn't be mandatory. I don't know how it was in the US, but in Argentina they wanted to make it mandatory. So that was quite a thing. And so when I was starting to speak out against all this, someone who knew Milei and who knew me and a mutual friend got us in contact between each other. They said, you should get together. You will do wonderful stuff together. And my first collaboration with Milei was to make a documentary about the pandemic, about the quarantine. It's called Pandenomics, no? The economics of pandemic, like Reaganomics, Obamanomics. Well,
Yes.
Pandenomics. And you can see the documentary. It's on YouTube. I can send you the link later if you want.
I'll have to put in subtitles probably, but yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but at least you can see the aesthetics of it, because we started to make that this kind of like post-apocalyptic, bit of John Carpenter over there, Escape from New York, that kind of movies. Um, and Milei was very happy with the result. We had lots. We had like 2 million views on YouTube. That is a lot for Argentina. It's a very high number, and so and in that time, Milei was already famous, but he was nowhere near the big figure he's now. He was not into politics yet. He was still a media personality. Um so at the time, he was still someone who had he didn't have any power. He was like a small. He was a media personality, but still not as big as he is today. Today he is huge compared to that time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I'd love to look up his historical Twitter follower count. Like how many Twitter followers did he have 4 years ago? I think that would be a good measure of how famous he was.
well,
Also,
yes.
regarding documentaries, I had this guy a little while ago. Check out the documentary called Battleground Melbourne. It was about
Right?
it's about Australia, but yeah, it's in English. But yeah, this is something I've been wondering. If all of this insanity doesn't happen, does Milei happen?
Well, that's a very good question. I think that it's very hard to make like an alternative history,
Yeah,
but it's clear that the quarantine in Argentina made people like value freedom again and recognize the value of freedom. And also in Argentina, the pandemic and the quarantine showed very clearly that there were first class citizens and second class citizens.
yeah,
First class citizens were the politicians and their friends who could get the vaccines first, who could enjoy lots of perks and lots of special exceptions for them. And the second class citizen was really handled like cattle. It was really horrible. And so people could see that what Milei was speaking about before, from he started to become famous from he began his media career in 2016. That was his first time on TV, and he started getting a TV following and the big ratings. And then he exploded in popularity in 2018, and then in 2019 he was already like quite famous, and he went to
yeah,
many programs. And then in 2020 the quarantine happened, and he was like warning about this, and but suddenly many things about what he was preaching about how politicians were like a privileged class over the rest. Suddenly people could see it very clearly with the pandemic and the quarantine measures.
yeah. What
And
happened
so
in 2018? Sorry.
in 2018, he predicted, not only he was a great TV polemist and TV like pundit and TV debater, that he won every discussion against socialists and against statists and against left-wing people. He was like a very good TV debater, and he would win every discussion. It was amazing. And he started to turn around like the common sense from Argentina. Like in Argentina, there is a big prevailing conventional wisdom about social justice, and that everybody, and that there should be a right for every need. Like every need must be met with a right, about basically a government handout. And so he really started changing like the common perception of Argentinians, and he started saying like entrepreneurs are heroes, capitalism is great. When Argentina, capitalism used to be like a bad word. It used to be something to be hated. And so he started like really changing like the culture, and so he was so entertaining to watch while he did this, and he was so solvent in the ideas and so solid. It was really awesome to watch, and he started gaining a big following, and he won discussion after discussion, and nobody could seem to be able to take him down. He was like a great debater, and that's why and nobody was speaking like him. In Argentina, you have maybe, I don't know, you have lots of people who speak for the free markets, who speak for individual liberty, but in Argentina that was very rare, almost non-existent. And he was the first charismatic person to do this over here. So that's why he exploded so much in popularity, and he became a big media personality. And so to catch up how I started to working with Milei, he was very, very happy with my work on the documentary Pandenomics. He said, Santiago, you understand the epic I am going for. You understand the message. Because as I told you, I was very formed in political ideas by my family. And so I think you will be the best to carry the publicity campaign for our campaign. Also, another part of the truth is that the campaign had no money at all, and I was willing to do this almost for free. So,
that helps. Yeah,
that helps.
Yeah.
But anyway, I proved myself in the arena, and that's why I did the whole publicity campaign for his first campaign for Congress, and then for his campaign for president. I was the head of the publicity campaign. So, and to make that campaign, it took a lot of thinking, a lot of strategizing, a lot of work, in the way to find the right message and the right way of messaging, and the aesthetics of it, and everything from the image to the music to the looks of Milei to everything, to find like the correct kind of publicity that would struck a chord on the Argentine people. So it was a lot of work, a lot of thinking and investigating, and we did a good job because we won. Of course, I'm only one part of the campaign. The campaign has many aspects, so I won't take the credit for all. No way I will do that. But my part was very successful, and the critics, there are every time a campaign is happening in Argentina and an electoral season is happening, there are many critics of how the campaigns are going, how the ads are going, and I always scored very high on those critics, and my ads were always rated like on the top. So we have some independent sources that were giving appreciation for my work as the publicist of Milei.
That's amazing, Santiago. I mean, Milei has done something that no libertarian or anarchist has ever done before.
No,
and since last August, I've just been trying to figure out what is he doing that nobody else has done, and I'm just trying to figure out what he's doing here. Yes. I mean, we're not even close to electing a Milei, and some people have said, well, it just has to get really, really bad down there. Well, that might be part of it, but
that could be another part of it, yeah. But that wouldn't be enough.
Yeah,
because
I don't know of anybody in America who got voted out of office because of these coronavirus policies. I guess we could in a way say that Alberto Fernandez got voted out, although he chose to run and probably chose not to run because he figured he's going to lose. But
yes, but it wasn't only the COVID management that was a disaster. It was also the economy that was a disaster. Yeah. It was like the worst government we had in the whole of democracy. But we can't only adjudicate like the bad economic situation to the Milei win, because there were other candidates over there who had a lot of money, a lot of professionals working on their campaigns, that they had very professional teams on economics and security and all kinds of areas of government. So it is not only the crisis that Argentina was going through, but also the merits of Milei and his attributes of personality. The truth is that he's very charismatic. He's really authentically charismatic. That's something that it's important in a campaign. He's very articulate. He's a great debater. He knows how to disarm the arguments of the opponent. He's very entertaining while doing that. He has a very rock vibe that is great for young people that are most of his voters. He really has a lot going for him. Not only the crisis in Argentina, but he's an Austrian school economics professor and he's very well versed in theory, so he's very solid. But apart from being a very solid speaker and very solid speaker for the ideas and an intellectual, maybe not an intellectual because he himself says, I am a divulgación, how do you say it in English? Someone who makes like books that are easier for people to digest the more complex ideas.
Books easier to read? Is that what you're saying?
No, there is like a category of the popularizers of ideas, like people who take, for example, von Mises and explain them in a more common people.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know if we necessarily have a word for that, but yeah, that's very important because I can read something. I mean, I would never hand von Mises to just somebody on the street. He's far too complicated. He
has popularized the idea in the ways a plumber can understand them, a dentist can, a hair barber can understand it, like a taxi driver can understand it. He has popularized the ideas, but not only popularized, but made a synthesis of the very best ideas and the most effective in communication. And he has, in my opinion, done something that is very unique to him. Mm-hmm. But he has made the ideas of libertarians and anarchism like an epic struggle against an enemy that's socialism. That enemy is incarnated in crook politicians. So he has made the epic side of his way of speaking is very important, and that's what I find very original in him in the libertarian sphere. He knows how to make everything sound like an epic battle, and that's the way he speaks. He's a very good orator, and my job was to help him put that kind of epic way of speaking into videos, into media, into content, and that content to be powerful and entertaining and with good music, good images. So I think that's so it's not only the crisis. He's a very energetic and powerful speaker. So maybe someone, of course, this is always alternative history, and you never know. But I think that, for example, if Milei were to participate in a Republican primary, he will do very well because he has a lot going for him. He's and also because he comes from a working class background, he has been able to empathize with the people very well, and people like him, and they find him like he's a humble man from that fights for ordinary people. So that is also very important.
I definitely think the working class background is a big factor. I don't know if having been a soccer player is a factor, but I also think definitely having been the lead singer of a Rolling Stone cover band, I think that's a huge factor too.
Yes.
I mean, he reminds me a lot of Johnny Cash sometimes when I see him. He's got the black jacket on. I don't know if you know who Johnny Cash is down there, but he was he was a singer, up here. He was a singer who a lot of people like. There were a lot of different kinds of people. I mean, people would be at a Johnny Cash concert, and you would never think these people would be friends, but they're at a Johnny. And they often called him the Man in Black.
I also think that his background as a soccer player is very important, because in Argentina we are big soccer fans. Messi, Maradona, and everything.
Oh yeah.
So he has the language, like the kind of language, sometimes with using foul language and like the language of the of the supporters, of the people who go to watch football. And so his language is like very popular. Like people like it because in Argentina, libertarians and classic liberals in general, or conservatives, used to be like very, like posh people and very gentlemanly and from a higher class of society, a bit away from the ordinary people. And so they were like a very a more closed kind of social circle. But Milei, with his way of speaking, more like street level kind of speaking, uh, he was able to reach a lot of voters. But when I say this, he speaks like in an ordinary people's way of speaking, but he is very profound too. So it's not like a downgrading of the ideas.
Yeah.
It's a way of communicating them to the broader public that is really effective, and also with a lot of epic and and he has a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to do what he has done, because in Argentina you have to face like entrenched powers that are really, really, they really set up to destroy him. There was a negative campaign, a flag campaign that was the biggest one ever seen in Argentina. They wanted to call him a Nazi, a fascist, that he slept with her sister, that he slept with the dog. Like the most horrible rumors were spread. The negative campaign was really, really, really horrible and was very well funded. But we prevailed. Like Milei and his team, we prevailed against this multi-million-dollar campaign against us, and because we had the truth on our side. And I don't say this lightly. Like we really had we were talking the truth about what was happening in Argentina, about why we were failing, and we were also the people that gathered around Milei. We were very nobody was into politics before, and we were very like honest people, and we managed to build up bravery and courage to face all this hostility against us. And and we won, and it was really an amazing win in Argentina. People still can't believe it totally, because it was really something quite amazing. So
I don't know why I've never asked this question before, and I don't know if there's a place where I can find the answer to this. How much money did Massa spend? How much money did Bullrich spend? And how much money did Milei spend? All of that stuff is very documented in America. Is there a place where I can get those numbers for Argentina?
No. In Argentina, it's very hard to get those numbers because the system is not as transparent, and it's very so it's very hard to get those numbers. But we were way outspent by the others. But
because that's
way outspent.
Yeah, that's the common excuse I hear in America. Well, I didn't win because I didn't have money. Well, you won and you didn't have money, or you didn't have as much money either. So I think
it must be like at least 20-1, more or less, the difference.
Yeah.
So yes, the thing is that in the US, campaigns are probably much more expensive than in Argentina.
Yeah.
Because it's a much bigger country and it's much harder to get. In Argentina, the vote is compulsory, so everybody has to go. That you don't have to drag people to the voting booth, and that's must be very expensive to do.
True.
And so yes, I think they say that Massa has roughly spent around $500 million on the campaign.
Dollars.
Okay,
just want to make sure you got that $500 million. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot to spend for in a country of 45 million people.
Yeah. So, and I don't know our own numbers, but it must be a tenth of that, or maybe even lower, much lower.
Well, and Bullrich stopped spending money, and Bullrich stopped spending money earlier than Massa and Milei did. So but I don't know, and I don't know what kind of money would have rolled in after Bullrich endorsed Milei, but I mean, really, does Milei win without Bullrich's endorsement?
Her endorsement was very important. So again, it's very hard to know what could have happened if other things didn't happen, because that's doing alternative
Yeah,
history. But her endorsement was very important because people were a bit scared to vote for Milei because of, for example, I don't know, the
yeah,
chainsaw and stuff like that.
yeah,
So her endorsement was very important to give to calm down, especially the older voters, like the
yeah,
older age voters. Uh, so yes, her endorsement definitely helped a lot. So, but well, that's also part of the game, you know. That's part of the electoral game. Um, but what's really nowadays, the polls are saying that people who voted for Bullrich now prefer Milei. So they have reconsidered their view of Milei now that he's in government, that he's getting quite good results as for now. And so people
yeah.
are saying, I voted for Bullrich, but now that I see Milei in government, I really like him, and I would vote for him next time. So,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, just the fact that they're at least bringing the inflation to a halt, and you can't stop inflation immediately, of course. But I mean,
no, 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 no.
it's like a car that's going 200 miles an hour. I mean, you hit the brakes and you're still going to coast a while, but and the balance, and I think we're now looking at 4 straight months of balanced budgets, so or budget surpluses. So that's a good sign. I mean,
The different governments have been
yeah,
trying, or maybe not so much trying, but inflation has been a problem for more than 40 years in Argentina, and in the last 20 years they never could lower it down. We had the highest, we had for a long time. We were like the third most country with most inflation after Venezuela and something like Zimbabwe or something like that. And then last year we were the country with most inflation in the world. And Milei is managing to stop it, and that's a big success. And he's also closing lots of departments in the state. He's closing many. For example, we had a ministry for the woman,
yeah,
and we closed it. We had an anti-discrimination department that was all political persecution against people who wouldn't
yeah,
follow the woke ideology. We
mm-hmm.
closed.
Yeah,
We're closing a lots of departments. We're finding lots of corrupt spending of money that is being closed down, and we're being able to cut down spending just by cutting all the unnecessary functions of the state. And but of course there is a lot more to go, but we are going in the right direction, and people are
oh, yeah,
appreciating it and supporting it. So
yeah. Regarding Milei's public image, how much of an influence was Fatima Flores? I know they're not together anymore, but
not so big. I,
okay,
I wouldn't say it was so big, but people liked her. But
yeah,
she got in the scene at the end of the campaign. Of course, I mean, it wasn't thought out as a campaign stunt or anything, but people like her. She's quite popular in Argentina, and people like her.
yeah,
But it was not a big influence. I think that the biggest influence was how we articulated Milei's message, how we show it to the public, and how people got excited about it and finally
yeah.
voted.
But
So
do you think maybe she influenced, what kind of clothes he wore, or whether, because I was sometimes noticing sometimes he
oh
wears
no, no,
glasses,
no,
sometimes he doesn't wear glasses, stuff like that. I mean,
no.
that's her job, is to go. I mean, I've even seen those videos where she's actually impersonating Milei. It's just so hilarious. I mean, she looks like she looks like she's a really fun person. I certainly,
No, yes, she's
I
really,
wish her all the best in her career. It's
of course. No, she's a really, really
yeah,
nice person. But all the looks and all and all the way Milei dresses and looks was already in place before, and it was like developed before. So even though of course she was a welcome addition to his public image,
yeah,
but I wouldn't say I don't want to offend her or anything, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't say she was like a defining factor. No, no, no,
Yeah.
it wasn't a big factor.
What else? I mean, as far as publicity goes, what else did you think you all did really well that really scored with people? Because
Well,
this is an amazing. I mean, you should be a man in demand after this. People are going to want. I want to hire this Santiago Oria guy to come run my campaign. I mean, you're
yes,
going to get offers from
I got
everybody. You know, it's
some offers. I have received some offers from Brazil and from other places.
yeah,
But right now, I am still working with Milei, and I am full time in his full time
yeah,
demand, and also
mhm,
I am sticking to him. But the thing is, we really like we kind of revolutionized the way of making political publicity in Argentina because, for example, in Argentina, it was very common for lots of political ads to be with actors and with fake settings,
yeah,
like making like a kind of a fiction film with people saying I support this guy, but they were all actors; they were not real people. That was like something that was very common here in Argentina. Like most campaigns were done that way, and I went for a full documentary style, and maybe the production value was lower. It wasn't as nicely lighted, or it didn't have like the best definition in the image. Maybe it was not like 4K or like maybe there were not like cinema cameras. We used camcorders or we used
yeah,
cell phones, and everything looked more homemade, and people really we really caught the attention of people like saying while the other candidates are using campaigns that look fake and look phony and are not real, they're all by actors and situations that are made up like in a fiction movie. Milei's campaign is about real people saying really what they believe in. They really support this guy. The support is genuine, it's authentic. What was important in here by what used to happen in Argentina is that politicians made their sense or image as a result of polling and political consultants, and everything was like very like made up in a fake way. And politicians were very inauthentic; they were very fake, and people were fed up of that. And Milei was very authentic, very real, very unfiltered. He could say outrageous things, but people in the end preferred something that was outrageous, but that was authentic and real. So I went for a full documentary style kind of ad and publicity making, and people received it very well. Also, because we made our lack of resources and low money a virtue, because people appreciated that we were not spending too much money in the context of on a big crisis where people literally didn't have enough money to eat. Maybe that in the US sounds crazy, but in Argentina, like poverty is very harsh, and people sometimes struggle to even to eat. So that's why people appreciated our low cost style of campaign. And and also a thing we did is that we really encourage people to join, to be part of the campaign, to join the videos we made, and to feel a part of the campaign, something that other politicians could not do, because if politicians called the ordinary citizen to participate in their ads, they would go and kill them. Like they would go and started like making all the complaints to them. But Milei received like a genuine affection and genuine support, and so that was very shocking to see the contrast between something that looked real and authentic and not scripted versus campaigns that look staged and scripted, and that made really a really big impact. And also we were very good at making content that didn't do any cringe, because the campaigns of our opponents were very cringy many times, and that was
yeah,
especially bad in the young vote. And we were really the best at making videos that younger voters could see and they fell in love with Milei, and they really felt like this is a genuine guy. We should support the real guy. And also, another virtue of our campaign is that we talked very straight in very direct words. In Argentina, like most campaigns were all about like words that are very vague. I don't know, like hope, change, social justice, like everything was very vague, and we were very concrete. We were said freedom, lower taxes, let's stop with these crooked politicians. Like we were very direct, and people also appreciated that. And we also tried to make everything looked very different and exciting and a bit messy and a bit punk. But people really saw, okay, I want to vote something different. I am fed up of the normal politicians of always, and so I will vote for this guy Milei that looks very different, speaks very different, dresses very different, and also I see that his content is very genuine and very authentic. So that was like maybe one of the main aspects of why it was so successful, because it was in a context where most politicians were the fake products of political consultants. Milei didn't rely almost anything in consultants, and he was his own self, and that was very powerful. And our job was to maintain that energy, that authenticity, and to project it to the people. And we also had we were very well organized in social media, to the point that we are like the biggest force in social media in Argentina. We can make a trending topic in Twitter in minutes.
Yeah.
And so that also helped a lot. And so yes, and also the way we made like a storytelling campaign. We made a story, like it was an epic about a hero who decides to confront power, to confront tyranny, and so allies join him. We made like a Campbellian, like monument. You know those books, right? Like the hero of a thousand faces, and all those. You know those authors?
The
Are you
hero
familiar?
with a thousand faces. I'm not
Joseph,
sure.
Joseph Campbell.
Oh, Joseph Campbell. Yeah, I know who
It's
that is.
inspiration for Star Wars and so many movies.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
Joseph Campbell.
have you heard of the concept of the hero's journey?
Yeah, the hero's journey. Yeah, the hero with a thousand faces. Yeah, Joseph Campbell. Yeah. So
Okay, so we really used that kinds of mythic ideas to build up the epic of the campaign, and it was really powerful. And what else can I say? We managed to garner lots of
Yep.
volunteers that, with their own cameras, they filmed lots of stuff, and then I, as an editor,
Yep.
could bring them together and make really great videos for a very low cost.
Yeah.
So that were some of the factors that really made us different, and was very successful. And also the way our ads could touch the fiber of the moment, like we were able to really understand what people were going through. There was a lot of suffering, there was a lot of hardships, and politicians like looked like they were living in a bubble, and that showed up in their ads, that they were not really like in touch with the needs of the ordinary people, and we really managed to show that we were. So that was like calibrating the message, fine tuning the message in a very detailed way, that we managed to people, for the people to be to feel identified with us and with the message
Yes.
Milei was saying. So it was like a very handcrafted and very tidy put message that in the end was very powerful. And we also managed, with very few money, to call lots of attention, because, for example, the I don't know, the chainsaw, that was something someone from the idea belonged to Milei. Milei is very creative, making up
Yeah.
ideas for explaining things. So he was speaking about the chainsaw, the chainsaw, the chainsaw, and suddenly in one of his rallies, uh, normal people showed up with chainsaws and gave them to Milei, and Milei like picked them up and so we called the attention, and people were looking at what we were doing, and then they heard the message, and it really struck a chord. But it was, I mean, it was really an adventure. We traveled all the country from north to south. It was really an amazing experience, and we managed to garner that big of a support. Um, what else can I say? There's so many things I could talk about, but the way we organize ourselves, the way we like the ad campaign was like a story that you could follow from the first ad to the last ad. It was like a series, like a story you could follow, and you could like see the story of a people who were liberating themselves from their tyrants, and people really got into the emotional part of it, and then they joined like this kind of movement behind Milei, and that took him to the presidency. So it was really incredible. Uh, on the and sometimes my videos and my ads and even my movie, my 2 hour feature length documentary about Millet, sometimes the objective was not to reach to the ordinary voter, but to pump up our own more committed followers. So, for example, the campaign kicked off with an avant premiere of my movie, and there our party, like everybody went, like all the party hierarchy went to see the movie, and that really like boosted our morale to go and take the fight, no, take
Yeah.
the fight to our opponents. So yes, it was really an amazing, and there are lots of people who worked on this for no money and free, and it was really like a revolution. It was really amazing.
Yeah. When you're making material for the
Oh,
people who already agree?
can I add something more?
Yeah, sure.
As our campaign was very like revolutionary and very like rebels, and we also used that aesthetic of the ragtag rebels, like we made our defects, we tried to change them into virtues, into positives, no. So it looked very messy, but that was good because it looked like we were people uh, like more ordinary people fighting with what they can, with whatever resources they can gather. uh, the thing is, I can tell it to you, but it's so amazing to watch videos. For example, a truck driver riding on his own truck with a paint and very like amateurish Millet 2023, and that was like so charming to see, like ordinary people drawing a lion on their front yard, like all with amateur means, but those amateurish means were much more charming than the professional looking banners of our opponents. No, that because our opponents, like, no, the ordinary people didn't campaign for them. They hired like these campaign agencies that are mercenaries that make all the professional banners and everything, but everything looks made by professionals. And when ordinary people do their own campaign, that is very powerful because it means that it's the people against like an establishment. So that was also very powerful.
I've known people myself who've made feature films for $5,500, so it's not that hard anymore. Are
Yes.
you saying that maybe because some of this stuff was cheaper, it actually had more appeal because it didn't because it didn't look as professional? I mean, maybe it's because these people really put their hearts into it because they weren't being paid to do it. They really wanted to do it. Is that
No. Yes.
is
Yes.
that fair to say? Or
Yes, that's something that you can see it, you can detect it, and it has its own charm and its own power. because it means that people are like, it's when you see a movie, you see, for example, in Braveheart, you see like the Scots, they're
Yeah.
fighting with whatever they can get their arms to. And so they have like it has a bigger heart. It has like a heart that the professional army doesn't. So that also has a charm, and that makes people empathize with the underdog. Milei was like the underdog of the election race. He was like the underdog. He was the guy with no money, but with a big truth
Mhm.
and courage. And so that is also very powerful. When you're watching a tennis match, usually people root for the underdog, or when you see a Rocky film, you're rooting for Rocky. You're rooting for the underdog, and that underdog charm and power was also very present in the campaign.
I'm curious to know what's going to happen though when he's not the underdog, because he obviously can't say he's the underdog in 2027.
Yes, that's true. But I think that if we manage to keep the government in our revolutionary cause and we are fulfilling our promises and that we don't become what we were fighting against, we
Yeah.
were we are going to be able to keep that popularity. And if we show results, we will do very well. But we have to show results,
Yeah.
and we have to show that we are not getting contaminated by the same biases the other politicians were contaminated with.
Yeah. Is there a lot of movie and TV made in Buenos Aires?
Um,
I
in
mean,
Latin America,
movies, TV
yes,
shows. Yeah.
yes, there are, but it used to be in regards what is publicity. Argentina is one of
Yeah.
the biggest in Latin America. It used to be way bigger, but of
Yeah.
course the economic crisis has
Oh yeah.
made it decay, and now I would say that Mexico is very strong now. But it
Well,
used to be
I've
the other
even
way
heard
around.
a lot of yeah. Sorry, I've even heard that a lot of Spanish speaking stuff is actually made in Miami now too.
Yes,
Yeah, but Mexico City, I wasn't really sure. I knew Mexico City was big, but it's a where you usually have to have a pretty big city to have a film scene and a movie scene. But yeah, so when you're making let's say you're making a film for people who are already really believers in Milei and making a
yes.
film for people that making a film for the public. What do you do differently?
Okay, so that's a very good question. But I think that w- the thing I make for our own people, I am trying to show ourselves that we have legitimacy, that we have to be brave, and we have to be able to face our opponents. We have to be smart. We have to. It's like another kind of storytelling that is more about a focus on the warriors who are like taking this campaign. And when I try to make something for the public, my main objective was to show that Milei had genuine support. Like his support was genuine. Real people were gathering around him. Like that was like the main goal, to show that he could fill up a stadium, he could fill up a park. This was not minor because other politicians could do it, but with a political apparatus. And ours was very spontaneous. Like people came from their own means. So when I was trying to convince other people, the main message was against the politicians and speaking about the truth about the economic hardships, and also showing that Milei was not a crazy guy that was by himself alone, that he was supported by genuine normal people were getting behind him. So that was like the main objective. And also to synthesize the ideas in a very simple way. Um, and with regards of our own, like they're a bit more sophisticated in the message, more complex, and they're more about the how we had to carry out a campaign. So, for example, the movie I premiered on 2023 for the presidential race was about the the race to Congress, and how that race to Congress in one district in Buenos Aires had now to be replicated, but on a national scale. So that we could learn the lessons from that campaign and apply them on a bigger scale nationally. And that's what really happened. It was like the small campaign for Congress in the city of Buenos Aires. We nearly replicated it on a national level, but it was like in a bigger scale. But the same issues were going around. So that would be the difference.
Yeah. Who are some other people that create content that you really admire and look up to? I mean, who would you consider your mentors or your teachers or anybody that's inspired you to be,
Okay.
making films or documentaries?
So on the documentary side, on the more feature length kind of documentaries, I would say my biggest influence is Errol Morris. Do you know him?
Aaron Morris.
Errol Morris. He's American. He's a Bernie Sanders supporter, and he has made many important films. He made films about Ronald Rumsfeld and about McNamara, about Steve Bannon, about. Are you googling him?
I'm looking. Is it more Aaron?
Morris. Errol Morris.
Aaron Morris. Yeah, I'm looking him up. Yeah. I'm getting a rugby player.
Do you have I will send it to you via WhatsApp. I will send you.
Or you can send it in the video chat, the StreamYard chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Aaron Morris. Yeah.
There we go. Via WhatsApp. And
Errol Morris. Okay. Morris. Errol Flynn.
Yes, that's right.
The actor, yes. Errol Morris. Yeah, that's a.
And then I also took inspiration from Ron Paul's campaign, Trump's campaign, Obama's campaign, Biden's campaign, the campaigns in Spain of the party Podemos, that is a hard left party, and from Vox, that is a hard right party, and also from the guerrilla filmmakers from the 70s in Argentina, the Marxist kind of.
You've got to separate the beliefs from the methods.
That's right, of course.
Do the methods work? It's like, well, so it's like saying, well, if you found out. It's like you really want to drive. It's like you really want to drive Chevys, but then you find out that Karl Marx drove a Chevy, and you say, "Well, I'm not going to drive a Chevy."
That's right.
A car. So what?
The Marxist filmmakers from the 70s in Argentina relied a lot in filming the ordinary people, the ordinary person. They had very low means of production. They worked in a clandestine way. They worked so that was also a big influence. This kind of in the US, when you hear about guerrilla filmmaking, is that you make a film with whatever you can take your hands on, and you go. For example, all our film locations for Javier Milei, they were always. People gave us the space for free, to support Milei. They gave us a club, they gave us a garage, they gave us a hotel room, anything. Like, people were really trying to help us out. And so we got all our locations for free from people who wanted to collaborate. So that's an example of guerrilla filmmaking. Like, you try to spend as little as you can. And
there's a guy in America. I call him a guerrilla journalist. He carries a camera around, and like, he meets somebody, he can just do a 10-minute interview with them right on the spot, And it's kind of interesting.
in Argentina, doing that used to be like all politicians made their stuff like very polished, very lots of a big budget. And when we started doing our guerrilla style, and we do it, with lots of like swag, like it really called the attention of people. Like it was something new here. Maybe it's not new somewhere else in the world, but here it was something very new, and it really caught the attention, and people really liked it, and people appreciated that we were doing that kind of stuff, and it was because the message. I think someone in the US, a very famous, like the medium is a message too. So the way you do it is also part of the message. And so what you're saying there is that I'm just an ordinary Argentinian. I am making stuff with my small arms to fight tyranny. Like that also was appreciated because it was like a romantic in some way. It was like the romance of the people of the people with low resources that rebel against the people with all the resources. So that had its power and its charm, and it was very powerful. And people said, "I want to be part of this." And so people made their own stuff because we encouraged people to make their own stuff. And people did crazy things, like someone hired a parachute, and they would drop from a plane with a parachute and wave a Milei flag. People did all kinds of crazy stuff, and it was really fun and amazing to watch. It was very epic.
And I can imagine when you have all these parks and squares in Buenos Aires, you probably got independent filmmakers who maybe just set up for maybe 2 hours, and they shoot some scenes in the park, and then they just go home. It's like, okay, we shot our film today. I can't remember what happened for a while. There was New York City was actually going to outlaw that, and I knew some people said this will make it much harder to shoot an independent film in New York. We don't,
Yes.
Because they're literally just going out and sometimes filmmakers will just go to an abandoned parking lot or something like that, and just shoot a film. And I don't think they're asking permission. I think they're just kind of showing up there. They're there for an hour, though. They get their scene shot. Nobody cares, they just leave. This is amazing what's going on.
Also,
what else?
Something that this looks very simple, but it made a really big impact. In our ads, Milei looks straight into the camera. He looks like into the eyes of the public, and that was very different from what everybody else was doing. Everybody else, like when you saw their ads, they were never looking straight into the camera. They were like acting out something fake. And so the simple act of looking into the camera and saying what he believed in genuinely, it is very simple in setup, but it was very powerful.
Something I noticed during the debates is sometimes when the other people were talking, he'd either be smiling or sometimes he'd just be standing there laughing. And I don't know what it was, but it looks like a lot of times he's having fun. He likes going out and talking to people.
Yes.
I'm really disappointed he's not going to fly on commercial airlines anymore, because I think that was really great publicity for him. But I think he really likes people and really likes just saying hi to people. And I watched this debate, and you know what I said?
That was awesome, and I went on all his trips with him, and I was able to record videos of him, walking around the. Have you seen those videos? He's walking around the plane, I recorded all those videos, and it was really amazing. But it was starting to really get troublesome in the security. So yes.
And in one case, there was a case where the pilot comes by. Oh, hi, President Milei. It's nice to see you. I said, can you sit down? We have to take off. It's like,
I am the one who recorded all those moments. So, I was there, and it's really amazing. It's really different.
I like to say that this is the difference between a president and a king. a king flies on his own private jet. But the other thing too is if you watch the debates, I said this on my show about when I was analyzing the debates. I said Sergio Massa looks like he has a broomstick shoved up his ass. I mean, I'm not kidding. That's exactly what he looked like. He's all. It's like he's almost a statue or something. He doesn't. And granted, I was biased against him already, but it's just
he's like ultra coached. He's very coached, and Milei isn't. So
yeah, and Miriam Bregman looked like she was falling in love with him.
Yes, we did lots of jokes about that.
and I got to admit, I liked Schiaretti. I thought, I think this guy might be able to work with Milei. I don't know what happened there, but then of course Bullrich, and I said some really nasty things about Bullrich on this show earlier, and then it's like, I'm sorry for all those things I said about Patricia Bullrich. It's like,
well, sometimes politics is that way, and that's the way it's part of the competition, and but now they're working very good together. They're working extraordinarily well together. So.
And some of these other people are really good for PR too. I mean, Victoria is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, she just looks so classy. And you got some other people here too. I mean, who are really good for PR. I found some videos with Deanna Mondino. She looks like she is absolutely great.
Victoria and Milei, like they balance each other out. Yeah. So it's like the Catholic girl going out with the rock star.
Oh, it's the bad boy who rides up on the motorcycle.
Yeah, that's right. So they balance each other out that way. Like she's like the good Catholic schoolgirl who dates the rock star.
Yeah, but Milei looks like one of those guys who had friends in every group in school. I mean, he just looks like he would have been, if he'd hung out with everybody, he would have been popular with that group. That's the impression I get. It's just, those are the kind of personalities we need in the liberty movement, and we, at least in America, we don't have a lot of them.
There also weren't many in Argentina, so it's not not only a U.S. thing.
Yeah,
in Argentina, libertarians and classic liberals, we didn't have any representation because there were no charismatic speakers. Like nobody could message the way Milei does. So he's really something quite rare. It's not only a U.S. thing.
I earlier today I said, this is like Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. I mean, I really do think this could be that significant. It's just amazing what he's saying. It's the most important election in the history of the world.
I'm not sure about that. I think it was really significant. We must still deliver because we won, but now we must deliver. But I think that right now, like there are many important figures in the world on the, so to say, right side of the spectrum. But in the case of liberty, Milei today is number one. Like nobody's on the concept of liberty. Milei is number one in the world. He's bigger than. I'm speaking only in the liberty concept. No, I think he's bigger than Trump, bigger than Meloni, bigger than I don't know. He's really big on the. He's a number one representative of liberty in the world right now. But
he definitely is.
That's something I think it's totally true.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it myself. Like other analysts are saying it. So
and I don't know how much this is inspiring other people, but I saw his book I was in the airport in Lima, and I saw his book there, and it seems like
the book that is called the Camino Libertario, the one with his with the Well, do you see that cover?
Camino, which is the path or the walk of the libertarian. Yeah, yes. I hope.
I write 4 pages in that book. You can find 4 pages within my being.
The place I'm really hoping for. He used to be a friend, but I know a guy who has spent a lot of money, helped 50 people get out of Venezuela. Wow. I hope this gets to a point where maybe some things can happen there, and I suspect Milei is a fan of Maria Corina Machado because she's a real hero in Venezuela.
Yes, yes, yes. They have a very good relationship,
Yeah, and
and
it
they have
also
been
sounds like a
working
lot of
as
those Venezuelan immigrants helped Milei out in Argentina as well.
of course, no, they are awesome because they have experienced
Yeah,
socialism firsthand, and so when they arrive in Argentina, they know they don't want any.
yeah,
We have a lots of Venezuelan supporters. I think that almost every Venezuelan here
yeah,
supports Milei.
and
And
yeah, and
no,
even if somebody's not a sorry,
yes, yes, yes. Go ahead, go ahead.
even if somebody's not a voter, they can still go out and volunteer and pass out flyers and stuff like that.
That's right,
Even if
or
they
come to
can't
the
vote.
rallies and come. That we call the rallies concerts because we model them after rock concerts.
That is, I've been calling this rock star liberalism.
Yes,
Yeah, it's rock. Yeah, it's just go ahead and be a rock star. Yeah,
but what's important is that he's a rock star, but he's also a very, very well formed
yeah,
and a great speaker. O sea, it's not only the rock star aspect. It's not
yeah,
only the soccer player. He's very, very solid as a speaker, as a
yeah,
communicator, as a debater. So
yeah.
uh, it wouldn't work if he were only a rock star. Only he
Oh
has
yeah,
both. He has both, and we in our campaign we have tried to show both. Both were
yeah.
important
I think that's
because
important too. Yeah,
people want to trust their economic futures to someone who knows about the subject, right? So
yeah,
we had to show both, and and that was very important for him to get elected because the other candidates were not as strong in him as him in economics. So
yeah. I mean, there's a few guys like this, but he can go out into the street and talk to a construction crew about Austrian economics, but then he can go to some dinner party with a bunch of maybe 5 or 6 Nobel Prize winners, and he can have an intelligent conversation with them. He knows how to
yes,
know who he's talking to, and
totally,
yeah,
totally.
and he's not going to talk to that. And a lot of libertarians will talk to the same crowd the same way, and you just can't do that. You have to learn how to read the room, so to speak, as we
Yes,
call it. You know your audience, you understand your audience, and you talk to them in a way that they'll listen to you. Uh,
yes,
if,
and
if he spoke English, he could command so much more money in speaking fees. I mean, he's probably already getting good speaking fees now, but
yes, that's right. That is very
yeah,
true. And no, maybe just to wrap up because I have
yeah,
to go.
yeah,
Um, I could say that it's not myself who says it, but all the analysts and critics says that our videos and our ads were the most engaging, the most fun to watch, the most better messaged, and so I'm really proud of what I was able to do
yeah,
with way lower resources than the other campaigns. So yes, it was like the congregation of a lot of people that were very good at what they did, and thankfully that team that is Milei, Karina Milei, Santiago Caput, and many others,
yeah,
who we managed to make a team that was we were really committed and really passionate about the ideas, and voila, and that we worked a lot. We really worked ourselves out. We worked much more than the other campaign teams, and that combination of
yeah.
factors led to this victory.
And you've
But
got to make it fun. You've got to have fun.
yes, you have to have fun. That's
I
very important. The side who is having fun will do better, no doubt.
that's what's important. I think Milei understood the magnitude of the situation, but he was still able to be happy and go out and
You have to have
yeah,
fun, but it hasn't to be only fun.
yeah,
The message has to be
yeah,
deep, it has to be profound, and it has to capture the zeitgeist of the
yeah,
moment.
yeah. Well, you
That's
gotta
very
you gotta
important.
go. So it's been so great having you on here, Santiago. I knew this would be a great
Okay,
show.
Chris,
So, and
nice to speak to
where
you.
can we find you on the net? Where can we?
You can
Do you
find
have a
you
website
can
or
find
anything?
me. I am mostly on Twitter.
Okay, yeah,
It's at Santiago lower dash Oria.
yeah,
It's my name
yeah,
basically, and you can find me on. I'm not so active on Instagram, but you can find me
yeah,
on Instagram where I post photos of the campaign.
Yeah.
And you can find me on YouTube Santiago Oria. You can see all my videos there, all the ads. So
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Fountainhead FM, and please follow the channel, like this video, check out my Substack, go buy my novel Escape from the Village. Oh, by the way, Santiago, the Venezuelan immigrants are going to turn Argentina into a baseball country. But yes, yes. But anyway, we're definitely more. But anyway, it's been great having you. Thank you, Santiago.
If we have success as a government, it will be a big message for liberty all around the world. So I hope we can have success. It will be great for all freedom-loving people all over the world.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a great trip, Santiago. It's been great. Bye-bye.